Hi everyone, welcome back to my tennis channel where you'll learn how to be a tennis savage and you'll learn to have tennis tenacity. Today we're going to talk about the top 8 women in the world as far as tennis players are concerned. So at the end of the season, every season now, they take the top 8 men as well. That's called the ATP Finals, as well as the top 8 women. And they have a tournament, 1 through 8. And you go from 8 down to 4, down to 2. And the finals winner is the winner of the WTA Finals champion. Kind of a cool way to end the calendar year before we get to the Australian Open in 2024. So the top 8 women squared off. We'll tell you who won in just a second. But let's go through the top 8 women in the world's WTA rankings. So number 8, we have Maria Sakkari. And some of these names are difficult. You hear them on TV. You don't know if the announcer's saying them correctly or not. But Maria Sakkari is 28 years old. She's from Athens, Greece. She's become a semifinalist twice in her career, and she seems to be always, right inside the top 10. Real big, strong player. She's got a really regimented workout routine. The last video I talked about working out. Well, man, she really takes it to a new level. She is built. I've seen her live at Indian Wells, and she's fun to watch. She's fiery. And so she was a semifinalist twice in Grand Slam events in the majors. She was the 2021 French Open semifinalist, and also in 2021 she was the US Open semifinalist. So, she's known for her aggressive all-court style of play, centered around her, very strong serve and powerful ground strokes. So, Maria Sakkari, number 8 in the world. Number 7 is Marketa Vondrousova. And Vondrousova is 24 from Sokolov, Czechia. She won Wimbledon this year in 2023 over Ons Jabeur, 6-4, 6-4. And everyone thought and was rooting for Jabeur because she's a fan favorite. But Vondrousova wanted to write her own story and her own script. She didn't want to be part of somebody else's story. And she took out Jabeur. And she, even though it was close, 6-4, 6-4, she was in control most of that match. And she held on to win her one and only Grand Slam title, Wimbledon 2023. So she comes in at number 7. She became the first unseeded woman to win the singles title. So she was not seeded at Wimbledon. Wimbledon has their own rankings. They can kind of put people wherever they want. So she was not ranked at the time, and she won Wimbledon this year. It is November 25th, 2023. And all these women are not average. They know how to be a tennis savage. And they have tennis tenacity. She's a crafty, consistent left-handed player, is Marketa. The Wimbledon winner also has her lucky number 13 inked on her body as a tattoo, as well as she has 5 Olympic rings. She got her first tattoo when she was 16, and now she has at least 10 on both arms. Most of them, motivationally driven. One of them's no flowers, no something, I forget, but it's basically saying you got to work for it. And she works hard. Number 6 is the player that she beat in the Wimbledon 2023 finals, Ons Jabeur. And Jabeur is 28. and she is from Tunisia, Sousse, Tunisia. And Jabeur is, like I said, one of the most popular players in the world of tennis. She's such a wonderful person, and she has been a finalist now in Grand Slam majors 3 times. So 2022, she was a finalist at Wimbledon, and 2022, she was a finalist in the U.S. Open. And then in the match we just discussed in 2023 Wimbledon, she was also the finalist, losing all 3 of those. She's the highest ranked African and Arab tennis player in WTA and ATP rankings history. And she's loved around the world for her varied game, with her touch drop shots as well as her attitude. She can get fiery and upset and frustrated, as we all do. She wants to win, like everyone does. But she's very open to the fans, the media, and to other players, and she is loved by everyone. Okay, coming in at number 5 is Jessica Pegula, who is now 25, right in her prime, and she's from Buffalo, New York. And she made it all the way to the WTA Finals this year, but she ended up losing. So number 5 made it to the finals, and we will tell you who beat her when we get down to that person. So, she's made it to the quarterfinals of Grand Slam major tournaments 6 times, and that's as far as she's gotten. So quarterfinals is where she's tapped out. So, this year, being a year older and still improving her game, and she made it to number 2 of the WTA Finals, losing in the finals, so maybe she'll make it to her first finals appearance, or at least even her first semifinals. But the quarterfinals is the round of 16, I think. There's 16 people left, or no, 8. Sorry, 8 people left. So she's made it to the round of 8 6 times, and not any farther. Her parents own the Buffalo Bills, so she comes from a sports family, and they also own the Buffalo Sabres hockey team. So her parents own a football team and a hockey team, so I'm sure being around sports her whole life has served her well. She is right now number 1 in the world in doubles. How great is that? Her game is very durable and reliable. She's not super overpowering, but reliability is her strength. And she's got a really wide wingspan and hits with tremendous power off the forehand and the backhand. And I've seen her live at Indian Wells, and she's one of the more calm players while she's playing. You can see her get frustrated and upset, but you got to love her demeanor about how, even if it is affecting her, she doesn't show it on the outside. That's something I wish I had more of. I'm usually happy-go-lucky, but when I'm losing, I'm not. And you don't like when you get like that. Because of her double success with Coco Gauff, she has become a more competent volleyer as well. Okay, let's move on to the top 4. So coming in at number 4 in the world is Elena Rybakina. There's so many different ways to say it. I think it might be Rybakina. She's 24, from Moscow, Russia, and she's one of my favorite players to watch on the tour. Also, just what a demeanor, very calm, and she's just has a calming presence, when she's playing somebody else on the tour. She's usually the calmer one on the court, and that, calmness and her amazing backhand. Have you ever seen? I think she has the best backhand in the game, and I think she's number 1 in the backhand department, and I think that's what helped her win Wimbledon in this year. Or no, sorry, it was in 2022, and she won in 3 sets over Jabeur. It's a great match, and Jabeur kind of melted down in the third, and Rybakina was just overpowering her with the backhand, and her serve is amazing. Rybakina, also practiced gymnastics and skating, and was a star in gymnastics. With her sister was also a gymnast, but she grew up too much and got too tall. I think she's 6 feet. And she then devoted herself entirely to tennis. Elena is noted for her excellent serve and generating high ground, powered ground strokes. Okay, moving on to number 3 in the world is Coco Gauff. Another really fun player to watch, with her just, joyful jubilance on the court. She's only 19. So, look out, women's tennis world. This girl could be a force. She doesn't hit with a lot of power. She does have power, but she's more consistent. She did use the power. She's from United States, and she's from Delray Beach, Florida. But she used a combination of her speed and her consistent strokes, and used power when she needed to win the 2023 U.S. Open, which was the last major tournament of the year. And that happened, right at the end of the summer, right in September. So after winning the 2023 U.S. Open, her trajectory has skyrocketed. Her doubles partner is number 5 on this list, Jessica Pegula. And her doubles partner, Pegula, beat her in straight sets at the WTA Finals tournament. So big win for Pegula to beat her doubles partner, Coco Gauff. Gauff became only the 3rd American teenager to win the national women's title. Besides her speed and consistent ground strokes, Gauff is, she's very authentic. Whether it's her relatable, down-to-earth nature in interviews, or her openness around the more difficult emotions she feels in challenging defeats. Coco's authenticity has allowed her to create a genuine connection with fans that transcends tennis. So her trajectory in life and being an ambassador of the sport of tennis is on a skyrocketing path, and it's a wonderful thing for tennis in general, men's and women's. Okay, number 2, Iga Swiatek, 22, from Razin, Poland. So she's Polish. Swiatek is a 4-time major singles champion, and at 22, that is pretty impressive, having won the French Open in 2020, 2022, and 2023. So she's won the French Open 3 times, and she won the U.S. Open in 2022. So out of the 8 majors over the last 2 years, she's won 3 of them, so almost half of those. And she just won the 2023 WTA Finals. So the top 8 players we're talking about right now, she's number 2, and she ended up crushing Jessica Pegula in the finals of the WTA Finals, 6-1, 6-0. Showing the world that she is the best all-around women's tennis player. Her spinny forehand is her big weapon. She moves forward really well. When you watch her, she's usually always moving into the ball, not on her heels. Something that we should all do in tennis is to move forward into the ball, even if it's just slight. Makes such a big difference. The other players don't see it often, so they, her spinniness that, they find it harder to deal with. Swiatek she's still young, and she looks to be the dominant force on the women's draw in tennis. I see a lot of good battles ahead with her and Coco Gauff. And number 1 in the world is Aryna Sabalenka, from Minsk, Belarus. And, you know, she's 25. So she's right in her prime, like Pegula. You know, most of these women are in their prime. They're all in their 20s. Every one of these on the top 8. She won the Australian Open last year. That's her one Grand Slam win. She might be, and probably is, the most powerful women's tennis player on the planet. And that has propelled her to #1 in the world. When she's on her strong serve and hitting winners from her ground strokes, you know, make her a very difficult opponent. And, you know, she can get her head right. She has some double faulting issues, but when she gets her serve going and has her head right, you know, she's pretty emotional. So she's, you know, she's not Rybakina or Pegula. She's up and down. She's, you know, such a fun player to watch, and the power that she possesses is awesome. So she will probably win some more majors here. So that's it. That's the top 8 on the women's professional tennis. With Swiatek beating Pegula in the finals of the WTA final tournament. As we gear up, it's November 25th, 2023. We gear up for the Australian Open, and hopefully we'll get Rafael Nadal back for that on the men's side. So in the next video, we'll do the top 8 players that played in the ATP Finals, which is the same top 8 that they do at the end of the year, which is kind of a cool thing. It's, you know, it's not a major tournament. It's just the top 8 players that are ranked in the world square off against each other. So we'll do that list next. But don't be average, be a tennis savage. And you got to have the capacity to get tennis tenacity. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.